Start again, shall we? I just spent about the last half hour trying to figure out why the GO2 was not accurately centering on various studies. And I had to redo the 3-star alignment. It's now 9:17 on Monday, the 14th of April, 2025. And here's our view of Messier 82. And look at that spectacular texture in this roughed up galaxy 12 million light years away, which is being gravitationally disturbed by its probably a better organized neighbor, Messier 81, both of them together being Bode's galaxies. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to scan it, but no, there is Messier 82, not too far off from the center of the field. Let's start again with some studies that I already did but did not end up in the field of view. They were therefore undistinguishable because they weren't present. Okay, we're going to reprise NGC2334 and NGC2334. I missed NGC2334 last time because I did not turn on and activate the screen capture on the Windows 11 system, but you can see it quite nicely right there in the field of view, and I'm going to push it to 250x. And you can see that it's a face-on spiral galaxy with a tiny core and a lot of luminosity with some serious texture. But we're going to increase the exposure time to 10 seconds because there is so much about this galaxy that is so presentable, especially through longer-term exposure, which you can see on theskylive.com. But let's go ahead and double the exposure time now, and I'll give you the data at a 10-second exposure. Once again, its brighter confrere is NGC2334, which turned up quite nicely last time. We are getting a slightly better view of NGC2334 on this occasion. Here, I'm hoping we will have a view of NGC2334, and I believe there's a faint little Egeon galaxy right about there. We will, of course, do our zooming best to reveal more of it. And yep, let's see if that maps up against what's described here. This is number 100 on our rounders circuit. NGC2334 is at 7 hours, 11 minutes, 33.6 seconds, plus 50 degrees, 14 minutes, 53 seconds in Lynx the Cat. Has a visual magnitude of 13.6. That's fairly faint. However, its size is 0.9 by 0.7 arc minutes, so it could actually turn out to be this study here. This is much more Egeon presented. We're operating now at 100x. There are definitely a galaxy more Egeon there, and this one here above my pointer. The galaxy is, like I said, it's got an average surface magnitude 13.6, 0.9 by 0.7, with an average surface brightness of 12.9 and a position angle of 76 degrees. Through a 24-inch telescope done on February 15th, 2018 at 375x, we're operating at about 250 right now. Moderately bright, moderately large, round, strong, concentration with high surface brightness core that increases to a very small, brighter nucleus located 5.8 degrees northeast of NGC 2340 in a fairly rich group of galaxies. There's probably 2340 there, but don't bet on it. This is probably our study here. I'm going to push the magnification up a little bit. Maybe we'll see some more texture. We do see a core. We see more or less face-on presentation. I must have just disturbed the scope slightly. I've done the best I can to set the focus on this fast F4 newt. I would say that is our NGC 2334, the first study on slate for this evening. And here is our 50x. Here is our 50x more than 1 degree field of view associated with NGC 2336. There is a galaxy quite present there. I'm not very satisfied with how well positioned things are this evening, but if they turn up in the field of view, we can view them, if indeed we get them accurately identified. So let's take a look once again. NGC 2336 at 7 hours 27 minutes 0.3.8 arc seconds. It's in Camelopard, Dallas, at plus 80 degrees, 10 minutes and 43 seconds. The visual magnitude on this galaxy is 10.4, but it's very large, 7.1 by 3.9 arc minutes with an average surface brightness of 13.9 and a noisy position angle of 178 degrees. Through a 17.5-inch scope done on August 27th, 1987, Steve Gottlieb describes it as fairly bright, large, bright core, faint halo, and elongated north and south. This looks like it could be our study, but it's well spread out. It's hard to tell whether we're looking at the core, but there are extensions off in these angles here, and there could be even more faint nebulosity there. I'm at 10-second exposure time, which should equivalent to Steve Gottlieb's 24-inch scope, even though this is a 6-inch. That would be our view. It's just so faintly fading off to the various directions. Quite large, however. Not bad, and we are getting an improved view with each pass of the continuous function of capturing these studies. Why not move on to our next study? And let's assume we are, in fact, looking at NGC 2336. We are now back in the same region, I believe, as 2334. This is NGC 2340, 7 hours, 11 minutes, and 10 seconds. Yeah, it does correspond nicely. Plus 50 degrees, 10 minutes, and 28 seconds. We're operating at about 50x, and I would not describe this as giving an obvious galaxy, except for this one at position right about here. There should be a second one somewhere near there. As we zoom in, this is more of that edge-on galaxy. This is more of the face-on, which I believe was 2334. Let's go ahead and center on our more edgy-on NGC 2340. And pump it up to some 250x for this view. As I give you the data, NGC 2340 at 7 hours, 11 minutes, 10 seconds. I've given you all that information. Visual magnitude 11.7 with a size of 1.8 by 1.2 and an average surface brightness of 12.6 with a position angle of 80 degrees. Through a 24-inch telescope done in 2018 at 200x and 375, fairly bright. Yeah, I would say that. Fairly large. I don't know that I would say that, but it's an oval. Yeah, that works out pretty good. 2-to-1 west-south aspect ratio, west-southwest to east-northeast. Contains a large, bright core that is weakly concentrated to the center. Yep. Weakly concentrated to center. I would describe it as a little bit more edgy on. So there is our 10-second, roughly 24-inch view at 250x of NGC 2340. Here we are on a quest for NGC 2344 at the lowest possible magnification. I do believe we're seeing it here, some 50x within a 1+ degree square field of view. Now let's go ahead and zoom in and maybe we can make out some serious detail. have it. Once again, blown away by how the ZWO system increases the luminosity with zoom. NGC2344 is in length, 7 hours, 12 minutes, 28.7 seconds. A little further south, 47 degrees, 10 minutes. I did push the scope further out so that we'd be able to capture things in the 45 degrees north range, which is further south than I was able to capture in the past. This galaxy has a visual magnitude of 12 and is 1.7 by 1.7 arc minutes. Yeah, it does give a nice round presentation. Average surface brightness 13 through a 17.5-inch scope done in 1991. Fairly faint, fairly small, round, broad, mild concentration. Okay. Faint stellar nucleus, edges fade smoothly into the background. That's a fairly decent description of NGC 2344. Our next study at 50x is NGC 2347. It's in Camelopard, Dallas. It's 7 hours, 16 minutes, and 4 seconds, plus 64 degrees, 42 minutes, and 41 seconds. Has a visual magnitude of 12.5 with a size of 1.8 by 1.3 arc minutes. Average surface brightness 13.2 magnitudes per roundish arc minute, with a position angle of 175 degrees. Through a 13.1-inch telescope done in 1986, Steve Gottlieb describes it as fairly faint, fairly small, with a bright core, slightly elongated north to south, diffuse, located 4 arc minutes south of magnitude 7.3, star designated SAO 14129. Now we are seeing a star there, but it's supposed to be magnitude 7.3. Well, we are at a lower magnification. Let's push it up. See if we can't find that galaxy. Yep, but it looks kind of edgy on to me if that's BR study. Let's go back and I'll see if I can gather that data. We'll go to 100x. We are definitely looking at a galaxy. 250x. We are definitely looking at a galaxy there. 1.8 by 1.3. Small bright core, slightly elongated north to south. I would say it's a bit more elongated than what he's describing here, but it is, I give it a fairly good high probability that we are looking here at SAO, as he describes here, 14129, and here is our galaxy NGC 2347. Next study of the evening is NGC 2363. I am not really picking it out here. It should be in this region of the screen. Let's zoom in a little bit, see if we can't make sense of it. There's something very faint right there. Interesting galaxy. Doesn't seem to have much of a core to it. Wow. Let me get the data on to see if it corresponds. So we're looking for 2363. That much data on it. It's 7 hours, 28 minutes, 29.6 seconds, with plus 69 degrees, 11 minutes, 34. In Camelopard, Dallas, 1.7 by 1.1 arc minute with a 20 degree aspect ratio. This could be a bogus study, but there's definitely something luminous in this region here. I have to look that one up on the manana. Here we be looking for NGC 2366. It's at 7 hours, 28 minutes, 55 seconds, plus 69 degrees, 12 minutes, and 57 seconds. In Camelopard, Dallas, fairly bright. This should be pretty obvious. It's 11.1 magnitude galaxy, but it's 8.1 by 3.3 arc minutes in size. Average surface brightness of 14.6 and a position angle of 25. Through an 18-inch scope, and I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit to see, well, maybe we'll also play with the histogram. See if that helps us at all. Brighten the screen up. Oh, yeah, I think it's revealing itself right there. Let's do a zoom. Oh, yes, that's our baby. Probably might have revealed something if I had played with the histogram in the previous study as well, but I really don't want to go back and backtrack. Let's push this up a little bit more to 250x. There is our study at this point. NGC 2366. As I said, size 8.1 by 3.3 and an average surface brightness of 14.6 and a position angle of 25 degrees. Wow. Through an 18-inch scope done in 2004, at the southwest end of the galaxy is a very bright knot, or an H2 region. Oh yeah, I'm seeing that right next to that. It's next to this star right here. You can see the bright knot. It's roughly magnitude 12.5 and perhaps 15 arcseconds in size, which responds to a UHC filter at 160x exclamation mark. Yeah, you'll be seeing it there, but what an interesting study that is. I'd be interested, it's probably a very immature spiral galaxy with some star formation that we're just starting to make out here along its cold dark matter body. So there's our study of NGC 2366. Oh, what a beauty. Okay, this is NGC 2403. Gorgeous. It's in Camela pardalis, so we're not looking at something like Messier 81 here, which I thought might have been it because it's so well presented. We're at 7 hours, 36 minutes, 50.6 seconds, plus 65 degrees, 36 minutes and 9 seconds. It's got a visual magnitude of 8.5. Should have been discovered, but it's large, 21.9 by 12.3 arc minutes with an average surface brightness of 14.4. Could have easily been missed by Messier and Machine. Position angle of 127 degrees. Through an 18-inch scope done in 2004 at 160x, this chaotic spiral displayed a tremendous wealth of detail with two broad diffuse spiral arms, dark lanes, modeling, and a few obvious giant H2 regions of star formation. A number of stars are superimposed, including two Mag 11s. I focused on observing the H2 regions that were best viewed at 323x. Well, we're going to start by maybe playing with the histogram. All right, yeah, because I've just brought out those spiral arms. Let's see if I pushed it over to the right, maybe I can darken the background. All right, we'll stay with that. Let's do a bit of a zoom in. And once again, true to form, the ZWO imager gives even more luminosity and detail during zoom. So I'm going to push it up to the 250x. You can see the spiral arms, the H2 regions. I would definitely claim that, boy, we are getting an absolutely spectacular view under tonight's skies. And thank you for that. It's been quite a while since we've had a night without either the moon or cloudification. We are looking at a beauty of the evening. I can't imagine an even finer galaxy turning up. We are viewing NGC 2403. Take it in as I go ahead and prepare to slew the scope to NGC 2404. And here and away we go. Okay, we're back to the same study once again, and that's because apparently when it discovered NGC 2404 was thought to be a different study. It's 20 arcseconds in size, and it's described, I'm not going to give you the location details, by Steve in 2020. Wow. as NGC2404 is the brightest H2 complex in NGC2403. It's 375X. It appeared fairly bright, slightly elongated or regular, some 15 arc seconds in diameter. Certainly this is what he was referring to, but there are other very fine H2 regions in NGC 2403. All right, our first non-galaxy, and maybe the only one of the evening, NGC 2408 at 7 hours 40 minutes 32 seconds, plus 71 degrees 40 minutes and 30 seconds, which places it in Camelot Dallas, is a 20 arc-minute size open cluster. Through an 18-inch scope, it was observed in 2004 at 115x, some 50 stars, magnitude 9.5 and fainter, scattered in a 20 arc-minute size triangular group. And there is some sense of triangularity here. If I zoom in, I don't know about 40 stars, but I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, all right, we'll call that a cluster. It's not really designated a cluster here, so it could be a mistaken observation of a concatenation of stars, but certainly that looks kind of like a Christmas tree or triangle. Here we're hoping to find NGC 2426. It's at hour 7, 43 minutes, 18.5 seconds, plus 52 degrees, 19 minutes, and 6 seconds, and that puts us in lengths. Its visual magnitude is 13.1. It's barely larger than 1 arc-minute, 1.1 by 1.1, with an average surface brightness of 13.3 through a 17.5-inch scope. In 1991, Steve describes it as fairly faint, small, round, with a small bright core and a stellar nucleus. Seeing something off over here, but I don't know that that's the case. Let's see where we are in magnification. Let's start there, roughly 50x. Oh yeah, that's our baby right there. Okay, oh yeah, we're zooming in on it now. There we go, we've got it. Well, that's a huge amount of magnification. Let's back it off to 250 and 100% zoom. There is our galaxy, but there is another candidate and another, well, this one's fainter. There are several galaxies all throughout this region. I can only assume that the brightest one is, in fact, NGC 2426. And that description was through a 24-inch scope at 370. Well, that was 2426. Got it. Yeah. That was through a 17.5, faint, small, round, small, bright core with a stellar nucleus. I think that qualifies, but so does that. Anyway, here's our initial low-power view of the region of stars associated with NGC 2429. It is a galaxy in length at 7 hours 43 minutes 47.6 seconds, plus 52 degrees 21 minutes 27 seconds. Faintish, visual magnitude 13.8, 1.6 by 0.4, so it's about a 4-to-1 aspect ratio edge-on galaxy with an average surface brightness of 13.2 and a position angle of 145 degrees. I'm going, before I read the description, let us see what we can do. Bringing it out. Oh, yeah. Maybe not. Let's zoom in first. Oh, yeah, that was it. Look at that. Okay, there's another more of it. Yeah, it's kind of an edge-on galaxy, but there's something interfering with it, like bisecting it like a hat. Another galaxy right there. There's several possibilities here, but I'm going to assume this is our baby. We're operating now, let's see, at 160%. Let's drop it back down to our standard 100% as I give you, which is 250x roughly, as I give you a description of NGC 2429 taken from Steve's website. Through a 17.5-inch scope done in 1991, faint, small, very elongated 4-to-1 northwest to southeast, low, even surface brightness, A magnitude 13.5 star is involved at the southeast end, zero point 0.3 arc minutes from the center, and a mag 11 is at 0.8 degrees arc minutes, not degrees, southeast. Forms a pair with NGC 2426, which is 5 arc minutes to the southwest. So we did see several galaxies in the field. This is undoubtedly, and this is more like our study because it's more edge on. This one's a more face on galaxy there. So that is what we're going to assume is NGC 2429. Hey, we're going to have to start really going through these. I like to keep these videos down to 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and have a look at NGC 2431. We're going to pump up the zoom, see if we can pick it out. Yes, certainly there's a galaxy right there. Let's push it up to the standard of a 250x. Let's call this our supposed study for NGC 2431 at 7 hours 45 minutes 13.4 seconds plus 53 degrees 4 minutes and 30 seconds in lengths. It's a magnitude 13.4, 0.9 by 0.9 arc minutes with an average surface brightness of 13, position angle of 35 degrees, through a 17.5-inch scope and a visual observation at the eyepiece in 1993, described by Steve Gottlieb is faint, small, round, with a small bright core, faint stellar nucleus, a magnitude 11.5 stars, 1.7 arc minutes southeast, and a fainter mag 13, 2.2 to the west. And you can use that to determine whether or not this is, in fact, NGC 2431. Hey, NGC 2436 may be a spurious study in lengths at 7 hours, 45 minutes, 48.3 seconds, plus 52 degrees, 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Let's zoom in on it and see if something doesn't turn up somewhere in the field. Yeah, there's something right there, but who would guess that's it? It could be this over here. There's several faint things. There's no descriptor and therefore no real way to confirm our observation. Okay, our penultimate study of the evening is NGC 2441. It's in Camelopard, Dallas. It's 7 hours, 51 minutes, 54.8 seconds, at plus 73 degrees and 55 seconds in declination. Should be quite apparent. It's magnitude 12.2 with a size of 2 by 1.7 arc minutes. Most 12th magnitude galaxies are in the 2 arc minute size range. Surface brightness is 13.4. Through 17.5 in scope in 1987, Steve described it as fairly faint, small, slightly elongated and diffuse, only a very weak concentration of luminosity to the core. I would say that is our candidate for NGC 2441. Let's do a little bit of a zoom. It is a little promising here. Going to have to scale back here a little bit, and we'll push it right up to our 250x. And yes, I think that corresponds quite nicely to Steve's description. Our final study of the rounders of the evening, some 15 studies, is NGC 2446. Once again, we're at 50x. If we zoom in, we'll probably pick it out. And there it may very well be, but let's make sure we're seeing it at 100% zoom. Here's our study. It looks kind of edgy on to me. Let's see what Steve wrote about it. NGC 2446 at 7 hours, 48 minutes, 39.2 seconds at plus 54 degrees, 36 minutes and 42 seconds is in lengths. It's got a visual magnitude of 12.9, 1.9 by 1 arc minute, and it looks more like a 2-to-1 aspect ratio. Surface brightness 13.5 with a position angle of 130 degrees, 17.5-inch scope in 1991, faint, fairly small, slightly elongated northwest to southeast. At this point, we're 115 in to several hundred studies that are circumpolar in the NGC catalog. And interestingly enough, we are still less, at this point, less than 5% of the NGC catalogs have been in the circumpolar region from 45 degrees north latitude. There's something even fainter here, and only just had a passage. What I'd like to do, we're at 30 minutes now. Let's go take a look at Messier 81 this time as our Carpe Noctem view. So here is a very decent view of Messier 81. You can see its spiral arms wrapping around itself. It is not annulus, however. Spiral arms do not make continuity. Bright stellar core, extended core region, with spiral arms spiraling off, two of them. Morphologically, therefore, it would fall into the two spiral arm category as opposed to the multiple spiral arm category. This galaxy, of course, is well formed and well presented with lots of texture, but not nearly the amount of texture as you would see in Messier 82. It's clearly the more massive of the two galaxies, located some 12 million light years distant, because it's well formed, while, however, its neighbor, Messier 82, is in a state of turbulence. So with this Carpe Noctem view of the evening, let us appreciate galaxies like unto our own, Messier 80